Hello, hello, hello. It is raining so hard outside that it's like a waterfall. I had to go outside and do my composting, which I have to do every day. I have no other choice. And I got completely all of my clothes, my hair, everything completely drenched in water. And on the side of the house, there is a waterfall coming out on the side of the roof that overlaps a little bit the patio and all of that. On the very corner, there is like all the rainwater gathering, and it comes down harder than a shower. It's like one of those really expensive waterfall shower nozzles, like my dad has one in his shower, and that comes out like a waterfall, an ice waterfall, after going into the sauna. And you don't need to buy any of that here. If you have a sauna, you can just go outside naked under that the edge of the house and stand right under that waterfall, and that water is cold. So that would be the nice waterfall cooling off after going into the sauna. So that's the perfect Kneipp treatments, as they call them. But we don't have a sauna, and I can't go out there naked. The neighbor would see me, and I have OCD with the parking lot, so it's not gonna work. And it's too cold also. Has no sense. So, but I got my shower already while I was fully dressed. And I had to take my self-made sweater off because that got completely soaked with water. And I had to change my t-shirt and put my winter coat on. My pants, they dry fast because they're ski pants, but underneath my jogging pants are still very damp, but that's okay. I'm not going to change that now. So I really need to put that table lamp that I have over there, I need to put it over there on that wall. I have to aim it at the wall to give more light illumination, and then it would be better to have more light from the front, but I forgot to do that, so I just have to make a dark video like this. But it doesn't matter. Yeah. It's almost dark outside. Everything is clouded, and even I would say fog everywhere, and the clouds are all the way down to the ground and as high as a high-rise building. So if you take an airplane, you go through the clouds, you have to go for a long way until you finally get on top of that cotton candy layer, which I have done many times. We would take off in gray Germany, like just as gray as this, and even grayer, even darker, because they are even further away from the equator. So, and when it rains in Germany, it's like, it's so dark, you have to have lights on in the house during the day. Yes, yes, the baby dog. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. So, and he doesn't want to go out into the rain. He tries to avoid it. He made pee-pee in the living room yesterday. I have to watch him very carefully when he gets unrestful and he walks around. I know he's gonna have to go to make pee-pee. I have to go with him, and then I have to encourage him. I have to literally go out there and coach him and encourage him to, yes, to go out there under the tree at least. He goes down under that. We have a large area, it's a porch area that is covered by part of the roof. And he will go up there, but It's better if he makes pee-pee there than in the house. But I want him to go under the tree, and I have to always encourage him. Yes, I have to encourage the baby dog. Yes, I have to do that. And so, yeah, when he gets encouraged, then he will go. So they have very short hair, and they need to be encouraged. They need to be encouraged to go make pee-pee. Yes, that is what they have to. You have to do for them. Yes, you have to do that. Yes, have to do that. Yes. But he has like a wetsuit on, and he doesn't even realize it. So when he comes back in the house, it doesn't take much to dry off his coat, because the wetsuit coat dries very fast. So, but I usually wipe him with a towel, a terry cloth towel. That's good to do. And then also cover them. They have to be covered when they're. He's warm right now, but they can get cold, and then you have to cover them with a sleeping bag or a sweater or baby blanket. So it's very important with short hair like that. Yeah, so it's incredibly dark outside, and it's like winter sleep time. You just want to go to bed and curl up. But the other day, on the 1st of November, I sang the song, or at least two of those paragraphs from the song, from Alexandra Nefedov. And the title of the song is Es ist November. I think that's the title of the song. It's a German song. I've sang that song before for my channel a few times. It's not very good, but I love that song deeply. I love Alexandra. That's an amazing woman. Alexandra. Doris Treitz was her name. She changed her name to Alexandra Nefedov. Alexandra, only the name Alexandra is her artist name, her singer name. Alexandra. Because she likes that name so much, and she called her son, who's my age, she called him Alexander. And her husband was in the mafia, and he was a Russian in the mafia, and his name was Nefedov, and she married him and took on his name. So Alexandra Nefedov sounds good, but Doris Treitz sounds good too. That sounds very good. But I guess she didn't identify with the name Doris. Like Doris Day, so. Doris Day was still contemporary, was still alive during the time of Alexandra Nefedov. So she probably thought, hunky-dory, which is the term that comes from Doris Day, the actor. A very outgoing and a very, very happy-go-lucky, sunny type of character. And Alexandra was not that type, so she didn't identify with the name Doris. And Treitz, that is a name that comes from the eastern part of Germany. That's a name like Nietzsche, very complicated. Treitz. They have those type of names there. I don't know. I don't know why they have these type of names. So it's like Ukrainian type of names that they have in the eastern area in Germany. So that have been naturalized for probably several hundred years. But yeah, I mean, there's no difference between the Ukrainians and the Germans, of course. Absolutely no difference in genetics and all of that. And also the people that border Germany on the Russian side and the Lithuanians and so on. They're all the same. And Alexandra had a lot of what my mother has, the very similar genes that my mother had. And they're both now in the infinite. And they were about the same generation, Alexandra and my mother. Maybe Alexandra was a little bit younger, a few years younger than my mother. But they looked so much alike. In 1965, 1968, the heyday of flower power, with those platform boots, white fake leather platform, like the sole platform this high, and the heel even higher, mini skirts, mini dresses. They walked around there in the city like this. I would never do that. And then she dressed me up like that when I was a little girl, and that was not good at all. That traumatized me. That was not good. No, little girl doesn't want to dress like that. No. I wanted to dress like my dad. That felt much cooler and much safer. So, but Alexandra and my mother, they dressed exactly identically. Beautiful women, both of them. My mother didn't think she was beautiful. So I don't know if Alexandra thought she was beautiful. I'm sure she must have, because she got so much so many admirers, male admirers, and her voice is amazing, very smoky, deep voice, much deeper than my voice. And that is very Eastern European, particularly towards Kazakhstan and that area, Mongolia, which I know my mother for sure has a genetics components in her, and Alexandra Nefedov as well. So she also sang in Russian, and then later on she moved to France and she learned French, and she also sang French so-called chansons. French chansons. And she also sang in English even, so she was very language oriented, very compassionate, very passionate, very loving, very evolved soul. And she's part of the 27 Club, so that throughout the centuries, throughout the decades, there are a lot of people that were famous, particularly in the field of music, particularly singers, that died at 27. And that's what happened to Alexandra, and she happened to be just with the wrong man and in the wrong places. And the mafia killed her because they were afraid that she knew something because she was married to a mafia man. And they were afraid that she had, those people are paranoid, those mafia people. They think everyone is a spy. I was accused of that too. That I must be a comrade spy. Right, okay. I would never waste my time with shit like that. Trust me on that, okay? No, you don't trust me, of course. It doesn't matter to me. But anyway, that's what happened to Alexandra. They thought, and I wonder if her husband even is behind that murder. No telling. Because she left him. She left him for someone else. He moved to the United States, and he may have had her murdered. So they did something to her car. She had a Mercedes-Benz convertible. They did something to her car. And they made sure that the driver of the car would get killed through that. So there was some kind of, I think the brakes quit or something. They tweaked it in a way so that after a certain amount of time, the brakes, whatever keeps the brakes in place, was becoming loosened, and or the brake pedal or something would get severed at some point after a few miles, and they calculated all of that in. They knew exactly when she was going from one place to another, and her mother and her son were in the car, and the mother died too. She was in the passenger seat. The baby son was on the back seat, and the son was the only one who survived. And that must have been an unbelievable, unimaginable trauma for that child. So, and she knew that they would kill her. She knew that ahead of time. She kept talking about it. She knew that she would get murdered because she had made friends with the wrong people. So, and that's all infinitely sad. It's not her fault. Okay. Infinitely sad that they took such a God-level soul and such an amazing artist and singer away from the world. The world was in grief over her. She was world famous, particularly in Europe, during the flower power time. So, and her song, Es ist November, I only remember 2 of those paragraphs. I don't even know if I remember both of them now, because when I sing this for the camera, then I get extra awkward. So it's not like, there are some singers out there, I've seen singers that are like very, very flawless. They have equal passion as I have. But I'm not flawless because I have trauma from the past. And the person who has passion with singing who doesn't have trauma from the past, they won't have this awkwardness. They will feel confident. They will feel like, they'll think, they're good at it. They don't have this they don't have this fear of being awkward and shy and making mistakes, which I have, so I do. And that's sad that this comes in, when I really like singing. So, and when I feel a little bit better, just a notch better than usual, I'm still not like happy-go-lucky Doris Day or something, or this Christian singer girl there that everyone admires so much, this flawless voice and flawless intonation. I don't have that, but I have passion, and I sometimes sing, and I like to share that with people. I almost had a moment just now where I felt like maybe I shouldn't sing now, because then I get bullied again, and people will say that I should be ashamed of myself or something. They don't have to watch my videos, so I'm not. I mean, you can turn the video off now, right? You don't have to watch the video when I'm singing. But this awkwardness and this feeling of embarrassment and this feeling of God, I'm gonna be bullied, I'm gonna be laughed about. I don't care anymore, but it's not like I'm gonna be running away or something, and hiding. No, I don't care. I don't care what other people think to that level anymore. But it still hurts. It still hurts. It breaks my heart when someone says something so mean, Come in the chat room already. And then I come in the chat room. You should be ashamed of yourself for coming in the chat room. See, the blue god agrees. 2222. What I'm saying is the truth. This is how I'm treated. Okay? Come on in the chat room. Why are you not coming in the chat room? Then I don't want to be bullied. It's just words. And then I come in the chat room. You should be ashamed of yourself for coming in the chat room. Yeah. You need to show yourself in the dress. And I show myself, I have in the past a few times. You should be ashamed of yourself for dressing like this. You're too old for that. And then a day later, you should take your clothes off. You should show more skin. And the day later, you should be ashamed of yourself for doing this. And that goes back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And it's an energetic pattern. It's an energetic pattern that isn't only pertaining to a few handful of people. Okay, it's that pattern that's all over the whole planet. Okay, it's an energetic pattern. It's a pattern of pain and hurt. Okay, in those people that are acting like this. In the people that are shaming others, they carry a deep, deep-rooted hurt. It's a trauma that they carry with them. It's very sad, all of that. Very, very sad. I've seen it my whole life. My brother has that he shames other people. He has that deep hurt. And he told me what it is. And I'm glad he did. When I told him that he needs to come down from that pedestal, he needs to face reality and live a humble life, okay? And live a peaceful life, okay? Free from drugs and parties and all of that. He immediately said, well then, okay, then I should just go and lie down behind the vacuum cleaner again. And when he said that, that was a huge eye-opener for me. So, when he was a little boy, he would lie down behind the vacuum cleaner and feel this hot, warm, dusty air that comes out the back end of the vacuum cleaner. And he would use that to soothe himself. Okay. And only a child does something like this, who has unimaginable hurt, feelings of unempowerment, feelings of not being good enough, being a loser, not being respected, not being loved. Although he had a nanny that came to us right before he was born, Maria, a good woman, and she took care of him like her own child. So, and she really took care of him very well. He didn't have that neglect and the abandonment and all of that. But my parents' household was not they were not well. But Maria was well. I don't know what would have happened with me if I didn't have Maria. Maria was a good mentor for me. I felt safe with her. My damage had already been done. Massive damage psychologically when my brother was born and I was 5. But I believe that my mother had Munchausen and Proxy, which is a horrific mental illness. And that has done damage to my brother and me. And my brother also, people are also born with a collective mental illness, collective hurt. Okay. Collective hurt that is passed on from one generation to another. Through the DNA, actually. And then also through energy, through incarnation as well. And that's particularly when a soul is younger. The soul that is younger with an accumulation of collective pain doesn't know how to handle that type of pain. So because of Maria, he was able to go behind the vacuum cleaner. I didn't even know how to do that. I didn't even know how to comfort myself. I had no comfort at all. None. I sat there with raw pain. And then I had to deal with that. And I had to suffer with that. My whole life I had to suffer with that. With that pain. Abandonment. When a baby is locked out from the mother, locked away from the mother. they lock a baby away alone in her own baby crib and in her own bedroom. I remember that before my brother was born, my mother would lock the hallway door so that I could go into 2 rooms and into a hallway, but I could not go from the hallway into the main hallway or to my parents' bedroom, which I usually did. My parents didn't want me to come into their bedroom. They were probably very busy making another baby. Okay. That's a trauma for a child. It's less traumatic for the child to be in the same room where the parents are making love. Trust me, I know this for a fact. Okay. Just to know the mother is there, to know that they're there and they're alive and they haven't abandoned me. So I would wake up, I would try to go to their bedroom, the door is locked, I could barely reach the door handle, and in front of the door was apple juice and chocolate and cookies for me. That's not a replacement for a mother. I could never do that to a living being, something like this, ever. I could never lock my dog or my child into a different room. I could never do something like this. So I have a lot of trauma. Of abandonment. And I have also been mocked. And I've been mocked by my mother and my grandfather. I've been bullied by classmates in school. Real severely bullied. Almost to the point of rape. I was groped for a child. It's a trauma. All of this is horrific. Many different boys, many different adult men. It's a trauma. Okay. You think there's something wrong with you that this is happening to you. That's the truth. This is a psychological mechanism that the child thinks there's something wrong with her to be treated like this. Why are they treating me like this? So that's where the awkwardness comes from, So I had to quit my school because of that awkwardness. It's not that intense anymore. I've done some healing since then, so I think I probably could give a presentation in school now, but it's too late. I'm not going back to school. I think I could give a presentation. I don't know, not a TED talk or something like this, but I think I could do a live video chat probably. I think I could. At this point now. This was a long healing and repairing and growing path that I have gone, and it was only way into my 50s that I was finally reaching new levels of healing and trust, like some kind of trust into myself, or trust into this room, trust into the situation, no matter how people treat me, that I have trust in myself, that I have trust even if I fall into the abyss of ridicule and valley of ridicule, that I still will be okay, that I will not be becoming crazy, right? Or throw up or whatever, or get neurological problems or something, which I thought in the past that would happen. I thought if I give a presentation in psychology, then I would make a mistake and they would all laugh about me, and I was 32 and still was that incredible fear, terror of these other people. The way they were looking at me was this mocking facial expression. I thought, if I'm going to make a mistake, they're going to be real ruthless. Or I'm sort of like, I'm startling them or alienating them or something. Or I say something dumb, really dumb. I say something embarrassing, So I was terrified of that, absolutely terrified. So I've come now to the level where when I say something dumb, it's not the end of the world. I don't have to cover it up. I don't have to try to justify it. I can just say, I said something dumb right now. I don't know where this comes from. Maybe a demon put that into my head, or I'm discombobulated, I'm confused, I think 10 things at once. I mix things up, I always do, I mix up opposites when I talk. It's not the end of the world if that happens, okay? I can adjust it, I can correct it. I'm not a god, I'm not flawless, I'm not perfect. I'm a very beaten down Quasimodo, okay? And it's okay. It is okay. I'm saying this to myself. It's okay. Huh? It's okay. And at the same time, I say it to you, the same message. Why bother? Why worry about what the mafia people think of you, right? The world is suffering. I'm not the only one. You're not the only one. Almost every human on this planet is suffering in one way or another. In one pattern or another. Let me categorize them into two categories. The victims and the predators. Okay. Just to give this a very, very rough categorization. Okay. So I'm a victim, you're a predator. Okay? We're equally mentally ill. Are we? I mean, I have to think about this for a moment. Are we equally mentally ill, or is the predator not a notch or two more mentally ill? I mean, it's a question to raise, And then it depends. There are so many nuances also between people. There's so many things that so much to talk to you about this particular subject alone. So, but I just want to categorize the victims, the real victims, not the ones that think they're a victim. The ones that think they are a victim, they are the predators. So I want to make this very crystal clear here. The real victims that are very kind-hearted, like Elon Musk. He has been brutally beaten up in school when he was a teenager, almost murdered. Brutally, he had to be hospitalized, was on life support. A kind-hearted man. Okay. He doesn't feel like a victim. He doesn't dwell on that. Never did. Never will. Okay. So he will ask the question, so what can I make out of the situation? Oh, let's get into karate. Okay. Let's get the black belt. Let's empower ourselves, okay? So, and I'm just using these very broad categories. There are many people in between, of course. And not all victims are good people, and not all predators are actually victims. They're actually, in actuality, not as much of a victim. Okay. But they think they are. So they feel entitled because they think they have been victimized in some way. So, two broad categories, just as I will say the givers and the takers, they overlap completely with that. The givers are the real victims, the takers are the real predators. Okay, so the takers are the ones that feel victimized. They have a narrative in their head that fits their agenda. Oh, if I just say I'm victimized, then I can get all kinds of welfare checks and I can get on board with this class action lawsuit or this movement, right? A victimhood movement and so on. And I get all kinds of things given to me, and so it's like learned helplessness, you get into that groove, but you're still a tool. You're a mafia tool. The kind-hearted people, the givers, are not the mafia tools. And that's why the mafia wants to get rid of those. Okay? They want to get rid of the kind-hearted, independent, empowered. The real victims that actually have been beaten, have been molested and beaten and raped and so on. The ones that don't have the sinister thought about other people, or this sinister, like, backstabbing type of energetic pattern. The ones that are naive and friendly and outgoing and caring and giving, and they want to help. Perfect example, that serial killer Henry. I saw a documentary film a while back on that guy. Very interesting story. He had this friend. I guess he could somehow identify with that guy. They were both feeling extremely victimized. But they were the predators, but they didn't understand that. Felt so victimized by everyone, by society. And the reason why is because they weren't good at anything. So they didn't make it in life. They wanted the easy way out, They wanted to drink and party, and they just wanted to get welfare checks. They didn't want to work for money. So they were jealous of those that were working. And that jealousy made them feel victimized. It's amazing how that works in people's brains. So Henry felt sorry for that other guy because he identified with that. So it went okay for a while, these two friends, right? That other guy tried to make it somehow with some lousy job that he didn't like. He comes back home, they were living together, he says they were bullying me at my job. And Henry said, I have a solution for you. Come with me. We're gonna go into there's this freeway tunnel that spanned for like a mile or something. And we're gonna pretend that our car broke down. And we're gonna get a good Samaritan to come and help us. And then I let you murder that person and nobody will see it and you get away with it. And they did. Good Samaritan, a real victim, a kind-hearted person, naive person, gets out of the car. Can I help you? Do you need help with your car? And Henry says, that's your chance, do it now. And he gave him an axe, and that guy just chopped an axe into that Good Samaritan's head, left him there on the side of the road, dead. They drove off, got away with it for a while. But at some point Henry had enough of that friend, particularly when that friend brought his sister into the situation. And the friend started to molest his sister. That's when Henry chopped that guy's head off. And the sister, she thought that he was being a real knight, a white knight, and he saved her or something. No. It didn't take very long until he chopped her head off too. So he couldn't help it. That was his nature. Okay. It's a little side story about Henry. There's a lot of Henrys like this. There are a lot of Jeffrey Dahmers in the world. There's a lot of O.J. Simpsons in the world, even more in more amounts than the other. Statistically, more. There's a lot of the white murderers. There are even more black murderers. It's a fact. I'm not making this up. It's what it is. It's a lot of collective hurt, collective through genes. The unbelievable DNA genes that are turned on or off, that are epigenetics, intermittent genes where they thought that didn't have anything, that wasn't identified as something useful or whatever, could be useful or very unuseful, either way, but those unidentified genetic strands on the DNA, much of that has to do with inherited pain from the parents that went through generations. And also energetic pain, energy pain, that is a karmic incarnation pain that we also pass on to other people. So whenever someone says these are just words, or oh, this is just a movie, or it's just whatever, or I just acted out on some kind of window doll or something. Some people suggest to make companion robots in form of children, for sex robots in form of children. There is a plus and there's a minus in this. And what I'm discussing right now is the negative side of that. The positive side is clear. Then if they can use a robot instead of ruining a real person's life, that would be better. But even though you use negative words to someone on the internet, you can duck away in anonymity, or you kill someone on the side of the road, or Henry probably didn't think there was anything wrong with that at all, or let things out on furniture, which we had a renter who did that. He cut into the furniture so we couldn't use them. So stupid, ridiculous. Or people that would just let it out on furniture. I don't even want to say it, I mean, the kind of stuff that people do, people do all kinds of things to other living beings, children, animals. So if they can do it to a furniture, it'd be better, right? Of course. But even if they do it to a furniture or some dummy doll, window doll, whatever, inflatable sex doll or cheap sex doll, expensive sex doll, sex robot, companion robot, whatever, it carries an energetic pattern. It carries an energy with it. That carries an energy with it. And that energy has a ripple effect, just like when you throw a rock in the water. It has these ripple rings that fan out. They reach the other shore. But people don't notice it, of course. But it does. So the same with bad deeds. Okay. A bad thought. I'm not beating down on anyone. I talked to Paul earlier about this. I have done bad things in the past. Not as bad as a criminal. But I have reached at least the outer margins of the mental fringes of extreme negativity. Let's put it this way. Okay, so feelings of vengeance and stuff like that, that went through my head. They were more or less ghosts, basically, of vengeance that went through my brain and through my best friend's brain, my friend Monica. And we had the same thoughts that went through our brains, but we kept it at that. Okay, we didn't act out on it or anything. vengeance, revenge on a man, it's not going to make the world a better place. Okay? It doesn't. No matter what he has done. Joan of Arc, she had that massively. Well, there's a reason always. Nothing comes without a reason, and without a good reason, and without a whopping reason. Okay, absolutely nothing. Nothing comes from nothing. Joan of Arc has witnessed her older sister being raped and murdered by English soldiers, by English cavalieros, or whatever they call, the horsemen, soldiers from England that would go into the Provence of France, into the rural areas of France. And they decided, oh, we are the winners. Let's just go into someone's house, make them feed us, and then we rape them, and then we murder them. And then we get away. And that's how they acted. Brutal. Around 1400. And she witnessed that. And naturally, she comes out as a bloodthirsty warrior. And she goes into battle. She leads an entire army into battle. Dressed as a boy, they chopped her hair off. She rode the horse like all the other people, like the men did. Now, today it's normal, but back then, a woman was not allowed to do that, to spread her legs like this on a horse. But no, that was yikes. The mindset of that's a whole nother discussion that I can talk about for 10 hours. I'm not going to get into that now. But anyway, she went into battle. The king let her do it. I wonder if she had an affair with the king. She probably did. I mean, he must have been so incredibly attracted to her, because she came out of several battles and won the battles for the king. He must have been so in awe with what she has done. I mean, I was like, maximum bravery, right, that the king didn't have. So, and the king, he always had, he had a number of women out there, and they were jealous of her. Well, I fully understand why. So, but what happened then is, at some point the king said, "This is enough now. We're not going to do any more." But Joan of Arc didn't have enough. She wanted to keep on. She wanted to keep on going. They claimed land back from the English. And she wanted to keep on going until the English were completely expelled out of France. And that was a mistake, because they recruited more people. And they just had the majority of people. They had way more people than she had among her horsemen, soldiers. So at some point, she lost the battle, and when she lost the battle, the English deported her to England and tortured her to death, put her on a bonfire, I'm not going to call that bonfire. Bon means good. They put her on an evil execution fire. And she was pregnant from being raped multiple times while she was in the dungeon in England. Pregnant with a large belly and everything. These people were brutes. Unbelievable. But yeah, vengeance. The vengeance never left her. Okay, vengeance. That's what vengeance does. It's just all encompassing. It's like it takes on the entire brain. Vengeance. Wanting to do more. Wanting to, getting this adrenaline, dopamine loop, right? From winning battles. That's very dangerous. That's an addiction. Okay. That's hefty. And that can be inherited, and that can also be passed on through energy, through incarnation. With an older soul, they will think about this very, very thoroughly. The new soul doesn't think about this. The new soul is very confused. The new soul doesn't have this, oh, wait a minute, in all of my other lifetimes, this is what happened and it didn't end well. And it doesn't help to make the world a better place. I mean, we don't actively do this, but there is an energetic knowing from the past lifetimes that makes us have to think about this before we go into action. We think about this 100, 1,000 times before we take a thought into action. Okay? So an experienced soul will think about this 1,000 times and say, nah. Something is telling me, an inner voice, I don't even know where that comes from, but I know now, it comes from my past incarnations. Something is telling me I can't go on that path of vengeance and wrath, and it's there in my head, I can't deny it, but I'm not going to act it out anymore. Friedrich Nietzsche didn't act it out. He acted it only out in writing. But that was bad enough already, right? Believe me, it has a ripple effect. Even though he will say, he was be constantly bashing people. And people hated him for that, of course. He was bashing entire Germany. The Germans. These stupid. They have no culture. He compared them to the French and bragged up the French. And yeah, it's not good. It doesn't make the world a better place. But at least better than going into battle, right? So it's like, it's an evolution of growing. So, but even Joan of Arc, when they won one battle, there was one guy who was still alive. He was a young man that was on the ground, on the balcony of a castle. And the other guy, one of her horsemen, said, I'm going to go over there and chop him into pieces and salvage his teeth, because I can sell them. I guess he traded teeth for people. They made some kind of bridges with people's teeth, actually. So, and Joan of Arc said, absolutely no. But even then, that guy was beaten down, he was on the ground, he was injured, and he was asking for mercy. He was asking Jeanne d'Arc for mercy. Please, please, madam, protect me, don't kill me. And she said to the other guy, no way, I'm not going to let you cut him. And the other guy obeyed her. And she said, I will help you. Get up. You become one of my soldiers. I will help you. I help you heal. I save your life. I don't want you to be murdered. You have another chance now. And he thanked her from the bottom of his heart. So even there she had mercy. When someone was completely on the ground. That's what an older soul does. A young soul has no mercy. That other guy, the other horseman that was with her, he was a young, new soul. He didn't see the difference. He couldn't discern. To him, it was property, that guy. And so he didn't have that understanding yet. This is a living being. He's beaten down. He's on the ground. He can't defend himself. He can't do anything to us anymore. He's completely surrendered. Have mercy on him. A new soul can't think that way. Okay, so an older soul sees that and has mercy. But a really advanced soul, that's much more advanced than Friedrich Nietzsche, Joan of Arc, Jesus Christ, and the list goes on. Much, much more advanced soul is angel level, God level, Buddha level is the highest. Elon Musk is the highest. Elon Musk who tried to save you, the mafia man. Even though you don't deserve it. It comes out of my mouth because I am where I am, right? I'm not Buddha level. So I am where I am, but I'm not going to beat you when you're down. I'm not going to do eye for an eye. I'm not going to do vengeance. I'm not going to go after you and retaliate. I've done some verbal retaliating in the chat rooms when I felt like completely unhinged. This happens sometimes, It's not angel level, it's not God level, it's not Buddha level. Okay? It's not what the Buddha taught us. Not at all. It has an energetic ripple effect that it's not a good one. But there's one thing I stay away from, and that is shaming other people. I know better now, because I've evolved enough to know that. I've evolved enough to know that I don't use shaming in any form whatsoever. Paul is not there yet. Paul is one level under me with that. Paul is still shaming people. I am already, that's where these brackets come in. Okay? And I'm not saying this because I'm putting myself above him. Not at all. It's the soul school evolution. Okay? I can clearly see this. You can discern it if you pay very close attention to this. Someone like this is stuck in generalization, in shaming, and looking down on others, in hierarchy thinking, and all of this. I know much better than doing that. I have vengeance feelings. I have but I'm not going to shame you. I'm not going to put you down. I'm not even if you do this to me on massive, massive scale. You do it out of your ignorance. Okay? You don't know better. But I know better. I'm not going to do it. And I'm not saying that makes me better or something. We're all equally precious, our skin and beingness. Yeah. It just means I have come around further. I have had more lifetimes than the mafia man. That's all. Okay? That's the only difference. This is not something to brag about. This is just, I observe it, Yeah, I know it. And with that comes responsibility, and I act on that responsibility. Okay. So, I've been victimized. I have been mean to my mother sometimes. Yeah. And I caught myself right in the act, and I knew this is not good. Even though she's done it to me on a massive scale, doesn't mean it's okay to retaliate. It's not okay. And I hit her into her pain. What's that? Into her emotional pain was what I just said there. You know, because I was annoyed, and also my anger comes up, and you know, like, hey you know, I want to say to her, you double standard bitch. You're dumb bitch. You know? So not good. It's not going to. Okay, I've said these things to my mother. I said the F word to her. I said to her, fuck off. After one video conversation, I said fuck off, and then I hung up. The blue cord agrees. 11111. And I am very aware and very conscious about all of this, even though I felt victimized by her, and I really was victimized, actually. But it does not. That doesn't make the world a better place. It's not a positive fanning out of waves, okay? Of energetic waves. Every word you say has an energetic wave. You don't think it does, but it does. Every horror movie made has an energetic ripple effect to the world that makes the world suffer more. Okay, and then when people do this in massive scale and in by millions of people that are doing this, negativity and all of this, and war, more, you know, more butchering, more in preemptive striking. That is what is called attacking. Why do you think they call it preemptive striking? Because the public is not intelligent enough to know what that means, preemptive striking. It's just another term for attacking. Okay, so Bush administration started that. And then they had their 2 feet in the door with that shit. And then the other one followed suit with that. And then it has a negative effect on the whole world. War in particular. You know. Every negative word and wording has a negative effect on the world. So this is my warning for the world. Okay, so stay away from retaliation. Don't do it. Become consciously aware on it. This is a learning and growing, expanding, healing process that we all have to go through. So I want to sing this November song now. And if I don't like it, I will not upload the video. I'm very, very self-conscious about this. But I'm very passionate about it. And it is much better to sing an awkward November song than to go into battle on horseback, particularly drawing a horse into a battle. Are you kidding me? That's a crime. Okay, so energetic healing going. And that's where our focus should be on. So it's much better to sing a song and go through the valley of ridicule. Okay, here's the song. I have to find the right intonation. She had a very deep voice, not as I don't have a deep voice like that, but I love that. I love these songs. They speak to me more than songs with a higher pitched voice. So I have to find the right octave for that. Es ist November und der Regen kriecht durch die Kleider auf die Haut. Ich gehe alleine auf den Wegen, die mir vom Sommer her vertraut. Wem wohl die kalten Tage nützen? Was gestern lebte, ist heut taub. Und in den schmutzig grauen Pfützen ertrinkt der Bäume welkes Laub. Was ist das Ziel in diesem Spiel, das der Natur seit je gefiel? An ein paar Zweigen hängen Blätter, die heute Nacht der Wind vergaß. Den Pavillon versperren Bretter, wo manches Liebespärchen saß. Sogar die Nester in den Bäumen sind ohne Leben, ohne Sinn. Doch der forgot the text. I knew it. That's what's gonna happen. Der wagt es zu träumen. I have this song. I have the song, the whole song. I had it printed out. It's in one of my folder, but I'm going to download it again. And I'm going to download it into this computer here and also into the other one, into my Google files, and then I have it, and then I will eventually sing you the entire song, because it's a beautiful, 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 heartfelt song from Alexandra. Okay, so peace and love for November and forever, and for all living beings equally much.